Hello, my name is Kirioth, and today we are going to do some dragon painting. So, before we get into it, I will just give a quick and brief warning to two of my friends who are part of the D&D campaign that I run of a Monday. Mike, Katie, actually Em as well, if you suddenly decide to check this video out. Don't! Go away. Spoilers. Massive spoilers. Don't look at this. You don't want to see this. This is supposed to be a surprise for quite some time away. Which is why I'm starting to paint it now. So, we are going to paint a massive, ugly as anything dragon. This dragon, to be precise. So this is the possessed dragon from Creature Caster, freshly base coated. Got a nice, well, it's actually got 3 coats of black on it, because I'm going to attempt something on this, whereby I've been doing a lot of the stuff with the Series D brushes from Artis Opus, and I thought, why not? Why not do the silly thing, not the sensible thing, the silly thing, and start a bit early on something that shouldn't show up in D&D for ages, and paint this. I'm not really sure where to start, not really sure how to tackle it, but then I didn't know how to do the Lady of Arcana either until I got these brushes and thought I'd just dive in and see what happens, so why not do it all again with something even bigger and more scary? And that's the idea. So this is going to be the first of probably quite a few videos where we're messing about with this thing, and a lot of it is going to be experimentation. It's going to be trying to decide what colour goes where, how we want to do stuff. Yeah, it should be fun. It should be nice. So what I'm going to do for this, the colours, what I will be using, and if you decide to paint something similar or even something totally different but in a similar scheme, then you will need some game colour hexed lichen. So we've got that one there. You will need some scale colour Huldra blue, which is it's such a cool colour. You will also need some of this, which again scale colour, Adriatic blue, one of the two. It's fine. And finally some model colour, which is ice yellow. So Vallejo for 2 and scale colour for the others. And yeah, we're just going to go in on this thing and see what happens, which is kind of scary, but I'm sure it's fine. The nice thing about this method, in fairness, is that if you don't like how it's going, it's super easy to just go back and do something different. You're hardly putting any paint on. It's very thin layers of paint that just build up to kind of increased effect as you go. So if you don't like the way it's going, you can just go back to your base colour and build back up again, and it really doesn't make any difference to the detail of the model, which is good for me. I like it. It's definitely a good thing. So, the thing I'm listening to whilst painting this absolute monstrosity is, what is this? Sign of Faith by Ignia. You know what, I'll put a link to it in the description so you can listen to it on YouTube if you want to listen along to the same thing that I'm listening to. You may not. You might try it and go, that's awful, what is your problem? But just in case you wanted to. So, I've got a bit of purple on my palette over here. Going to get some on the brush, and then I'm just going to start dabbing away. It's going to be like a kind of mix of dry brushing and stippling, really, for this base colour. We're going to get a fairly decent even coat, but I kind of want a little bit of the dark of the black still coming through. So get a decent hefty amount on there, and got a texture palette now. So you basically dry brush onto the texture palette to remove a lot of the excess paint, and then you can start going on the model. And for the most part, I'll be using just the one brush for this. So let's start. Oh, we will put wings on it eventually. I left them off for ease of painting because that's a hefty no to that. So we may as well start going down the back around the carapace. So I'm just going to put a little bit on there. It'll come through quite dull to start with, but that's fine because you're just going to build it up and up as you go. So the intent is for this to be a kind of mix of, I don't know, like a darkish. Just activate the pigment a bit with some water. There we go. I got a little bit too much off the brush there when I went on the texture palette. Let me move a bit closer so I don't keep going off camera. That's a good idea, isn't it? So yeah, the wings, it really doesn't matter what we do around the wings because we're going to go over it again anyway when the wings are attached. As I say, I left them off because trying to paint around them would be an absolute nightmare. It would be a real mess. So I haven't even base coated them actually yet, because I'm going to get the I'm aiming to get the body of the dragon done pretty much first, and then I'll move on to the wings. And as I say, it doesn't matter what we do around this section or that section because it'll all be gone over again anyway. I had to do a lot of work to get this to a point where I was happy with it, to be honest. This kit, it's one of the older Creature Caster kits, and it's a lovely sculpt, but it's just a real pain to work with. There's so many gaps and stuff. It was unreal. I had a real issue with it. Build up another layer on there. So I'm kind of half dry brushing, half stippling. Really, it doesn't matter how much we actually get on the spikes themselves because those will pick up a lot more of the kind of paler colours as we go. That patch is still pretty damp, so I'm not planning on going over the whole dragon in purple before we move on to other colours, don't worry, because that would take forever. I kind of want to do a little test area first, because that way I can work out just the vague idea as to where I'm going with it and how things will work. So yeah, putting this together was a bit of a pain. There's no instructions, so you kind of have to just hope that you're being smart and sensible and look at the reference pictures on the website. And there were some serious gaps. It took just as long to green stuff the gaps out as it did to assemble the model as a whole, which is not great, to be honest. But I think the green stuff works come out okay. I mean, you can kind of see a little bit of a gap there, but that leg wasn't connected to that foot at all. So that's the extent to which we're talking gaps. There was a massive gap in the tail down here, which, yeah, you can't actually see now, which is nice. There was a gap there. There was a gap. You still got a little bit of a gap there, but it's not terrible. That'll be okay once it's got some paint on it. That section and that section didn't meet at all. On this side, that section and that section did not meet. In fact, it looks better on the inside than the outside, unfortunately. But never mind. Every single one of these big tentacle bits for the mouth didn't connect properly. The head didn't connect properly, so I had to green stuff around there too. It was a whole thing. I was just like, oh my god, what do I even do with this? Is it even usable? Can I even do anything with this model? And luckily, a bit of hard work, it was salvageable. I really didn't want to have to send it back. I don't know that another one would have been any better, to be fair. As I say, it's an older sculpt of theirs. I think it's one of the oldest that they still have available, so it could well be that no matter which one I got, they would all end up in a similar way. Okay, I'm just going to get a tiny bit more paint there. Just a little bit. It's quite warm in this office, so this palette's drying out pretty quickly, which is frustrating, but never mind. I need to get myself a wet palette sorted. Just using a normal one, you tend to work through paints a fair bit. Although I don't actually have to get much out to do this kind of work now, which is nice. Because you only need a small amount, and then you just keep going back and reactivating the pigment with the water, just in the little sponge there. It's a nice method because it looks good, and it means you're not using all the paint in the world. I think I just caught one of the horns there, but it's fine. Okay. Yeah, the gaps come through a little bit on there, unfortunately. I'm not really sure why, because that was pretty well hidden, actually, when I green stuffed it. I don't know whether it's... Mind you, it was liquid green stuff, which is not quite as reliable. But I wasn't convinced that I would be able to get normal green stuff into those gaps. So, yeah, it was just one of those things. I was like, well, I don't know. Do I risk it with normal, or do I just do liquid and kind of hope that it goes okay? And I thought that it had gone okay, but I'm not so sure. I feel like once you've got the wings on and you've got the other leg, we're also missing a leg, as you can see just there. I've left that alone because with that attached, we won't be able to get into there at all. So, oh, that was another foot that didn't connect with the leg, which actually that has hidden itself really quite well, so that's okay. I'm happy with that. As it is, it's going to get a bit awkward getting around there, but there are certain parts of this that I want to remain pretty dark. Kind of, I'd like to have sort of shadows in the right place. So, okay, let's just get a tiny bit more in there. I just want that just round here to be just that little bit brighter. Kind of especially on the top. Build up around the neck a little bit. So yeah, I kind of aiming for sort of turquoisey, a kind of turquoisey approach. I'll have to see how it goes. That could well change, but that's the nice thing. If it does change, it's all right. Doesn't matter. You can go back and mess with things as much as you like. Oh, that's a bit much. Get rid of some of that. There we go. Okay, there we go. Yeah, getting a good amount on there now. I'll move on to another colour in a second, so this isn't completely tedious and boring. Only slightly tedious and boring is what I'm going for. I was tempted to do kind of real, like, grimy, dirty, diseasey sort of look, given the overall kind of feel of the dragon, but I decided that actually something a bit more interesting would be fun. Kind of a bit brighter and a bit more, I don't know, a bit more colourful in places. Okay, so we've got a nice finish on the back there. So I'm just going to put a bit more water in the pad, a bit more than actually you would normally need, because I'm going to get rid of a lot of the well, all of the purple pretty much. So give it a good wiggle in there. Get your trusty kitchen towel, and I'm just going to scrub across it. Now the kind of informational thing that comes with the Series D brushes has like steps laid out for how to do this stuff. That's how I did the Lady of Arcana. But there are like tweaks and adaptations that you make to whatever method you picked up to not just to make it your own, but just you get into your own habits, don't you? You form your own habits for painting, and once you've got into them and you know what you're doing, you can kind of recycle them without thinking. And then I'm just going to do my hand. There we go. So it does, I know the head of the brush does look pretty purple still, but there's no colour coming off that now, so it is ready for the next colour. So for the next one, I'm going to move on to the Huldra Blue, and there'll be a link in the description to this like set of colours in a bundle. So if you wanted to grab all of them at once, if you wanted to give a similar colour scheme a go, even the same colour scheme a go, then you can do that, and it's nice and easy. It's sort of been put together. It's obviously it'll be an Element Games link, so it'll have my referral code on the end of it, just so you're aware. But yeah, that is an option if you would like to give this particular colour combination a try. Okay, so I've got that on the end there. Which bit do we want to cover? Let's go over this bit. It's a super nice colour. It's very varied depending on what it goes over the top of. Okay, that'll do. So now I think I'm just gonna kind of go sort of a bit more central work, like especially on the back. Then I'm going to work around and kind of towards the edge, but not do a huge amount on the edges themselves. Just get it kind of in that central section, and leave a fair amount of the purple at the sides. Obviously, just do a little bit just to blend it in, but This is the thing. There is a point with this where it kind of looks like you kind of look at it and go, what am I doing here? What is this doing anything? And then you kind of keep persevering and going at it with different colours, and there's like a sudden moment where it just works, and suddenly you've got this cool combination of colours that you were hoping you'd get, but for a while weren't convinced that you would. That's what I've found anyway, especially with that the Typhon Heavy Siege tank that I was working on yesterday. Yeah, time of recording. I didn't know what I was doing with that at all. I was like, you know what? I'm going to give this method that I love so much a go on something that is... I mean, it might work. It could work. I don't know. Let's give it a try. Just going to get a tiny bit more paint on the end of the brush there. It's very easy to go a bit too tiny, but there you go. There we go. As I say, it's really warm in this office, which does affect things a little bit, because it just means that the paint you're pulling from can dry out a bit quicker, but that's just one of those things. There's not a huge amount you can do with that. Okay, there we go. So I've got that dark patch down the centre. I'm going to do a bit on the leg, just connect it up there, just a little bit, do a bit down the leg, and yeah, let's leave it there for a second and then see how we go. So I'm already going to move on to a different colour now. I'm going to shift over to the Adriatic blue and see where we are after that. There's only the tiniest amount going onto the palette, so it probably looks like it's a case of, you're wasting so much paint because you're only using it for a couple of, like in this context, you're only using it for like a few seconds, a few minutes, and then you're moving on to something else. Does that not waste a bunch of paint? It really doesn't, because I'm hardly putting any on the palette to begin with, because you don't need all that much. I will say that the Huldra blue I'm finding does require getting a bit more from the palette onto... Actually, just saying palette doesn't help, because I've got a texture palette as well. The plastic palette, not the texture palette. It feels like I kind of have to restock it a little bit more often. Kind of move some over from one to the other. The Huldra blue, which I'm not sure whether that's just a quirk of like the pigment used or something. I don't really know. But it's still not bad. It's still like a drop per time, and you can get away with using hardly any for the most part. Okay, so I'm gonna get the Adriatic blue, an alternative to the game color, the Vallejo game color Hex Lichen, and the scale color Adriatic blue. Is these. So there's Xeria's purple, which is a pretty... I don't think they match 100% these two, but they are very close. They are very close indeed. I just happen to already have this open, so rather than open this, I've opted to use this one. Again, it's like could just be down to a personal preference thing, really. And these two, now that is slightly darker than this, but I don't know. I got both because I wasn't sure which I wanted to try, and I went for the Adriatic blue straight off just to see what it was like, and really enjoyed it. And again, it's already open. It's part of it. They both do the same job, and they're both for the same stage. So, just a personal preference thing, really. Okay, tiny drop, and again, although the end of the brush is really dark, even if you really go for it, there's no discoloration, so the pigment's gone out of the brush. It's not going to transfer across. Okay, let's get that damp a little bit more. That's not enough. It kind of needs to be... It's like damp to the touch, but not like wet, which can be a little bit tricky getting used to, but you do get used to it. And you can... Those few of you who I think probably had a giggle at that statement can get your minds out the gutter. Okay, so there we go. Okay, so that's most of that Yeah, right. So we've got a decent amount off. Just going to get that one touch back, and I'm just going to very lightly go for it to start with, just to see where we're at. Ah, there we go. There we go. So I'm not fully dry brushing. Again, it's more like a kind of, I guess it's more of like a stippling, almost buffing motion than anything else. Just get a little bit more, just a tiny bit. So with this, probably what I'll do is I'll do one coat, and then I'll do like one layer, and then I'll see what it's like, and add another if I feel like it needs an extra. Actually, with this bit, that would be better just to do full-on dry brushing, wouldn't it? So I'll do it quite lightly to start, and then see how we go. Yeah, that'll work. That'll work nicely. Okay. Get a bit more on again. Go over that same section. Just give that a nice firm dry brushing. Okay. This is the other nice thing. You can just go back and just layer it on as much as you like, and if you don't like it, you can sack it off and start all over again with your base colour, and you're not losing any detail at all. It's not changing any of the detail on the model. I really like the method. I like it a lot. It's just made painting a lot more fun. I think what I'd really done, get a bit more on, because as I say, the heat in here is just killing me, to be totally honest, but I'm committed now. I'm committed. I also don't have a fan anymore because it broke. Although you shouldn't need a fan, it's still winter. But still, one of the quirks of this room. Lovely and cool 99% of the time. And then randomly, it'll just go, no, it's time now. Feel the heat of the sun that doesn't ever hit this particular room of the house. And I don't know why it does it, but it does. Okay. Okay, so we've got that nice streak down the back. I think I'll probably use a smaller dry brush, and yeah, I'll probably use the small and just add a bit more dark down the sides there and there, just to pick that out a bit more. But as I say, this is like partially just a test to see whether I think this is going to work on this model, which seems like an extreme test, but as I say, it's a nice way of doing things. It doesn't really matter if it's not 100% what you want, or if you decide you want to change it up, because you can. And I'm not particularly fussed about accidentally putting this model down on like paint that's on the texture palette, because it's not going to do anything. It's going to touch the base of the rocks, and since it's going to be on an actual base, quite an ambitious base for me, in fact, because I don't want it to just be on this. Like, I want it to be on something a lot more solid. So what I'm planning on doing is getting one of the larger, I can't remember what size these are, but that kind of size base, Games Workshop, place it in the centre, so make it a lot more stable, and build up other rocks around this outcropping of rocks, just so it's a bit more, so it's a bit more stable, because right now it's like that. And you know what, I'll just grab the wings so you can see just how ridiculous the wingspan of this thing is. Luckily, kept them handy. And here is the extent to which I had to mess about with these. Massive joins in them. That was especially bad. Still not perfect, but it's better than it was. So by the time you've got that on there, and you've got this on the other side, this other wing there, it's just that the potential for knocking this thing over is extreme. But it's a cool model. It's a really cool model. Right, out you come. And I mean, yeah, the size of it is... it's daft. Here we go. So, have a Custodes next to him. Pretty big. Pretty big, even without the wings. Okay, so... we're going to do a bit of ice yellow now. Because I just want to... as I said, I just want to see how this looks. This is very rough and ready. This... it's very much testing the theory, and of course there's no, like, I'm not doing any wash stages or anything like that right now. I'm not picking out any of the detail, it's just to see whether the colour scheme will work, and I'm pretty satisfied that it will, to be fair. Just the tiniest blob. There we go. It's like such a pathetic amount, but it goes so far, you don't need any more. Oh man, I'm so tempted to repaint one of my Imperial Knights with the same scheme that I've done the Typhon in now. It's bad, it's tempting. It's tempting because I'm really enjoying painting it that way. I've always hated painting vehicles, to be totally honest with you. Absolutely hated it. That's why I went like a quick, rough and easy scheme for the Dread Mob, because I was like, well, painting vehicles is a massive pain in the arse. So why would I punish myself by choosing like a rough, difficult scheme? I wouldn't. That would be for idiots. And then I tried something new and went, oh, actually, this is really fun. Shit. Okay. I got a bit too much off the brush that time, so just get a little bit extra just to line it up again. And just going to very, very, very gently. Okay. I do find that the ice yellow is not as forgiving as the other paints. But then lighter colours are never as forgiving. Lighter colours always are trickier. Doesn't matter what the context is, it's always more of a pain. If I just very lightly, very, 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 very lightly. A bit up as well, and then get a bit there. See, I think I want this a bit brighter than it is. Yeah, I want that brighter. I'm going to get more on the brush. Let me see. You've got a nice dry section there. Let's get that in there. You know what? Let's just go. Let's go. This is going to require a little bit of a finer touch, but it's fine. Okay, and I just want to carefully, like buff it in almost. Okay, there we go. That's more like it. I mean, there's sections on this that I'm going to go over and I'm going to pick out in detail with standard brushes, obviously. But as a proof of concept, it's working out all right. Okay, so that's the basic idea. I think if I get a bit more of that ice yellow, but I forget it on a slightly smaller brush. In fact, let me just get around that side there. Let me just get there. There we go. If I go back up and just really pick the edges out. In fact, if I get a bit just down the side, just pick that out a little bit, not a huge amount, just to, because there'll be sections where you don't want all of the complexity. So yeah. So there, I don't think I want the full... I don't know if I want the full gradient along the sides. I think having the strip of it down the back, having it across the curves, essentially, would work a bit better. But I need something to highlight those areas. I wonder whether a bit of pink or something would do it. Like a nice kind of magenta colour. I've got a few. Yeah, you know what? That's an interesting shout. That's an interesting idea. I should do that. But which one? That's the question. And do I want to bring that even lighter in places? I think the answer to that is yes, I kind of do. Yeah, let me just make sure I clean this before I start faffing about another brush. because I don't want to end up with a load of paint clumping it up. No matter what brushes you're using, you don't want a load of paint clumping them up. I will link these brushes as well. I'll link the paints that I've used, and I'll link the brushes that I'm using as well. Again, it's going to be on affiliate. It's going to be on Element. It's going to be through the affiliate link. So just a heads up. But then, if you watch these videos, then you know that already. You know that I have an affiliate link with Element Games because I tell you all the time. But it makes it a lot easier to talk about hobby stuff when you can afford to buy hobby things, funnily enough. Okay, just another tiny drop of that, and then... See, looking at it now, I'm going to do another strip that I'm going to just, like, get the very edges and kind of get around there and go down the back. But I think probably I might want to build up that blue a bit more beforehand this time, actually, looking at it. But again, it's okay, because you can go back and you can faff and mess and learn and evolve, adapt. There we go. Now that's going to be probably a bit too much. No, there we go. Alright. So just get down the side there. So I'm actually deliberately leaving a bit more on the brush there for this section, for doing this. Yeah, I like that. That'll work. That'll work nicely. As I say, I think I might want to bring the blue out just a tad more. But that has confirmed what I think I would like to do. But it's okay, because it's nice and simple to go back and then get the very edges. Just try and be careful. Okay, there we go. You know, if I get the very edge up there too, just to bring that more in line. Okay. And then across there. Get it just activate a little bit more, get a little bit more. There we go. So that basic idea. I mean, as a start, I mean, you can see where I'm going to go with it, can't you? So I reckon if I get this particular brush here, if I take that, I do some of the Huldra blue down the side there, then I'll do a bit more of that nice rich Adriatic blue, and then I mean I'll have to go over the ice yellow again, but just to bring that blend, just make the blend more obvious at the top there. It's actually worked a bit better on the leg, but again, it needs to be a bit more defined. There needs to be a bit more of the blue colours underneath. And actually, now that's settled in, that ice yellow where we don't have any of the other colours, that has picked up the scale and the detail quite nicely, like the scales on the skin. Okay. That's not a bad start. That'll do for now. Let's get a little bit of that. Oh, hang on. Wait. Whoa. You got to remember to do a bit of cleaning. Can't do that. Can't just leave it. That's not how you do that, is it? Okay. Give it a nice, good scrubbing. Scrub. Oh dear. That's what I do when I brush my kids' teeth if they're being horrible. Say scrub over and over again. It makes them less shitty. Just trying to think of a nice diplomatic way of saying it, but no, sometimes kids are just a pain in the ass. Okay, I realise I keep doing the ASMR thing of shaking paints down your ear, but that's just a risky take when you watch someone paint, I guess. I don't know if it's really a risk that you take. It is round here. Okay, let's get a nice bit of... Let's just splatter it out there. Go on. That was a bit more than I meant to put on there. Never mind. It's fine. Don't matter. All good. Okay, so... So I'm going to go back over up here. Not too heavy, just bring it back out a bit. That's actually doing the job for me already. That's quite funny. Okay, so get a bit more there, and then you go, oh no, that's whoa, chill out, calm down. Okay, just get rid of that. That's fine. Add a bit more to the top up there, like that. Get there. I mean, something else to consider, actually, thinking about it. I don't want to go too overboard on here, and I don't need to worry too much about the purple not being massively visible, because we're going to have the wings, which I need to remember. I definitely need to do some there, though, because that's going to stretch up. The whole thing's going to stretch up the neck, so I could do it doing the purple up there in a second, but that's fine. We'll get around to it. Okay, so get around that around there. Properly get that in there. Down the side a little bit, I think. Yeah. Because it wants to go down that leg anyway. Right. So yeah, it's made that a little bit messy there, but it's not a problem. It doesn't matter. It's all good. There's just something very zen about painting like this, to be honest with you. It's a nice method. You just sort of chill out. Just lose yourself in repeated brush strokes. Give it a scrub. I'm not going to make the noise because you aren't 2 or 4 years old. I'll have to remember not to not to go on too long with this recording, because I need to pick them up at some point. Much so it'd be nice to just leave them at the at the child mines for a bit, but never mind. Realistically, I can't do that because they charge you extra if you don't show up, so it's just a trap to make you take your own children home. It's almost like you have to be responsible for them or something. Okay, get a bit of this blue now. Where did we do this before? Was it that one or was it that one? It's all dried anyway. There we go, get a nice layer of that in. Get the last of that off. There we go. Okay, and that's the other thing, because it's essentially just dry brushing and stippling, it takes absolutely no time whatsoever for it to dry. So you can just go straight back in with more colour. It's just like, oh, I've just finished. Oh, sorry, did that totally off camera, didn't I? I've finished doing this particular section. I'll just change the colours and, oh look, it's already dry. Okay, so get that down there a bit, not too much. Get that a little bit more. So down that side, down there and there. Across the top and across the leg. And really, it needs to be down the side there a little bit as well, doesn't it? I'm just going to go over that a little bit and see what that looks like. Just a tiny bit, just to see if it adds to that at all. If it doesn't, I can just go back over it with purple, it doesn't matter. You know, that adds a little bit of... It kind of takes the edge off the harshness of the ice yellow going over that there, doesn't it? Picks out the detail a bit. Okay, worth remembering that. So there we go. That's now a little bit. Probably have to go over the ice yellow again in certain areas. And in fact, I'm deliberately going to go a bit more blue on these scales down the back there. So yeah, we'll definitely have to go a bit over the ice yellow in places, but that's fine. That's closer, isn't it? That's closer. That's more. The blend is better there. The blend is better there. Kind of done it backwards, but it's fine. If it works, who cares? Okay, let me just clean this one off, and then we'll put a bit more purple on. The real challenge is going to be inside the flipping mouth. I don't know what I'm going to do with that. It's going to be a right pain in the arse, isn't it? Okay, and just give that Yeah, all good. Yeah, the real adventure is going to be in there. I mean, for a start, no, that'll mangle that. I'm not doing it that way. It'll have to be that brush to start with, and then I'm going to have to move down to the smaller ones to go around the edges. The teeth, the bajillions of teeth, they will obviously have to be painted separately. Although I guess I could use the extra small and kind of just buff them lightly with some lighter colours. Okay, the back of that's coming on pretty well. It's coming on pretty well. Let's do a bit more purple. Let's just do a little bit more. Get it a bit more complete looking in other areas, and then we'll call it a day. Because it's, I mean, how long have we been going? 40 minutes, that's not bad. That's okay. That's alright. Just not used to talking to myself for this long. Actually, that's not true. Like every other video I make is bloody long, isn't it? So I stopped myself in the lie as I was telling it. It's like, you know that's not true. Okay. There we go, just get that off there. And go. The other thing as well, obviously, is, as I said before, if you want more colour, you just do multiple layers. You can be as bright as you want. Like that, for instance, which I actually didn't mean to do, but I'll take it because I'm doing a fairly significant area. The thing is, when it's damp like this, which, by the way, don't do that. That's just me being lazy, because I know I'm just going to be doing purple coverage anyway. You shouldn't actually have that much paint on the brush. It's just me being just me being arrogant. Like, yeah, I know how to do this now. So what if that's technically what you're supposed to do? I'm going to do it anyway. There. Okay. And I'm paying for it now because I've lost a load of the pigment off the... There we go. So that, I mean, that'll dry pretty dark anyway, some sections of that, and we'll have to go over it again, but that's fine. And I'm not too fussed about getting purple all over the rocks, because, funnily enough, the rocks will be painted a different colour to what they currently are. Get the tail all the way around there. That's going to be a right pain in the arse to get the shading on, but never mind. I like a challenge. That's not true. I don't like. Quite often, don't like a challenge when I'm painting. That's probably why it takes me so bloody long to paint anything. Oh, this looks like it could be difficult. Bollocks to that. I'll do something else. Not a great attitude to have. Let's be honest. On the other hand, I feel like I'm getting better with it. I'm definitely getting better with it. Don't feel like it. I know I am. I mean, I'm painting this bloody thing, aren't I? I mean, how much more of a... Come on, Purple, you're dying on me real quick here. How much more of a challenge do you want than this monstrosity? Go and get in there. That'll be a job for a smaller brush getting all the way up there, but that's fine. It'll do there for the moment. Okay. I have to approach the leg from the other side. There's a that's what she said joke in there somewhere, but I can't be bothered to really explore it. There's probably another one there too. Okay. Let's get this side, it's a little bit darker. Give it another couple of layers just to build up there. Gotta make sure you always properly get between the legs. I've just left that one alone. You were thinking it, I was thinking it. Okay, buff those out. Go on, get in there. Okay. Starting to get there coverage wise now. I've got a right stupid glob of paint on the brush there. It's all going to end up the same colour anyway. Okay. I keep trying to go for that bit, but I don't want to go for that bit. I'm happy with that bit how it is. Let's Get them legs. Claws. Actually, seeing the rest of the purple come in after I've already done shading on the top is weirdly satisfying. It's like, oh, suddenly that's looking better and better as more of the model gets coloured. Funny how that works, isn't it? That leg's going to be a real pain in the arse, isn't it? Alright. Oh, no, hang on. We can just about get through. We can just about make it. It could be easier, not going to lie. Could be easier, but it's doable. Again, probably a smaller brush would work there. Okay. Now the question is, what do we do for the inside of the mouth? I think probably, yeah, like a pinky magenta colour. I think a pinky magenta colour would work. I was thinking doing like pinky magenta around there, but I quite like how that's turned out. Although, then again, there's nothing to stop me trying it and seeing whether I like it or not. Oh, this is where it's getting hairy. This is where I don't like it. I did think about painting these bits separately, but that felt like an absolute faff having to do that. Well, now I'm starting to regret it, because I know that this wasn't that stable. And I've never been more aware of something not feeling all that stable as when I'm holding it like this. Okay, get that through there. See, there's probably a few of you, if you're still here, and if you are, God bless you, and I hope you're painting something and not just watching this, because that's the idea, kind of paint along kind of thing. Not this specific model, obviously, but you don't want to just sit here and listen to me ramble like this. Okay. I've totally lost track of what I was about to say. Yeah, I know at places it's going to look like, oh, well, why didn't you just... If you're doing it like that, if you're doing the whole model, then why didn't you just use a normal brush and just do the purple that way? It's because you still get, like... It's not really picking up on the camera, to be totally honest with you. But you still get that variation. You still get that kind of... Everything is nearly the same colour. It's not actually all the same colour. There's a fair bit of variation in certain areas, like... The light bits are still light and the dark bits are still dark, and it kind of... It is consistent, but not completely, which is the thing that I like about it. I reckon I'm going to go down there, and then we're going to call it a day. Okay? Because, yeah, because we'll have gone for about an hour by the time we've gone down the back of him with the Huldra blue, and then the Adriatic blue, and then a bit of the ice white. We'll have done a decent amount on him in that time. I won't go all the way down the tail, because when it gets around the rocks, I'm torn as to what to do. But we'll go down those spines to there, because I'm enjoying this, and it's fun. And YouTube loves hour-long videos. Just going to wreck the channel until Monday. I can tell you that for free. They really don't like it. It's like, no, how dare you do something just because you enjoy it? Obey the algorithm, fool. It's like, but I don't want to. I want to paint a bloody model, don't I? And that's not an acceptable reason to do something because you like it. No. Mind you, all of my longer videos technically are disliked by the algorithm, so... Whatever. Bollocks to him. Do what you like. Right. Bit of Huldra blue again, just a little dab, not that kind. Definitely not that kind. Okay. And where did we last do this? Let's do some... Yeah, that's dry. Let's... Okay, now let's get down this, getting down the back of this. There we go. I've been doing this so long. This album's repeated all the way back to the first song. I think I might have done it like, oh no, it's only done it once. Okay, fair enough. Okay, so we're going to go down there with the Huldra blue all the way down, and I think we'll go down the sides a little bit as well. Let me get a little bit more there. Just there we go. Just get that down there, get that down there a little bit. Just make that join nice, and there we go. Okay, now I'm not going to use the large brush for the next bit. I'm going to use the medium one. I'm going to turn my foam. Okay, get rid of the blue off this. Scrub, scrub, scrub. Oh, damn it, I did it again. Having kids ruins you. You just start looking like an absolute maniac when they're not around. Stuff that makes sense when there's children nearby is like, it is fine, but then you know your kids aren't home, they're not around, and you're still doing the same thing you do when they're still near you. You just look like a bloody lunatic. Mind you, I'm sitting here talking to myself, so really, who am I to judge what makes someone look like a lunatic? You can go away. Let's get the Adriatic blue again. I'm 99% sure I'm mispronouncing that, but whatever. You don't come here for things being pronounced correctly. I mean, if you did, you would be vastly disappointed, let's be honest. Okay. Get just a little touch of that. Go back over here. End up with all sorts of nice colour combinations doing this. Okay. So, going down here again. Need a bit more than that, don't I? Right, that's going to be too much. That is going to be too much. Okay, there we go. It's going to take a couple of coats just to get a nice solid blue down there. There we go, and just get a little bit more, so it's just a little bit richer. Don't go too crazy with it. And okay, let's get over there a little bit. That can always be, that can be re-yellowed. Just need a tiny bit more colour actually. I'm really loading it on here, but that's because I'm being impatient, which happens sometimes. Not often, but it happens. Okay. I went a little bit further over on one side, but it's easily fixable. Okay, so we've gone all the way down there. I think we need to get a little bit on the sides there, don't we? So let's do that quickly. So bring it up there. Bring it up just there as well. Okay, nice. And finally, ice yellow, which I think I'll do the same. Yeah, you know what? I'll use the same brush again, actually. The size feels just right for that. And that'll bring a lot of the blue. That'll bring a lot of the blue out as well. Make the whole thing a bit more, just a bit more interesting. Get rid of all of that. Oh, so close to being clean up. Pardon me. May have knocked the mic somewhat there. Pretty sure Robbie Williams did a song about that. That was a terrible joke. Oh dear. You can tell I'm talking to myself, can't you? Except I'm not, I'm talking to you. This is going out in public, so... Just a tiny bit extra. Oh, no! Poked myself in the finger. Boo! Boo! Okay. So, last bit before we stop. That's some pretty decent progress, to be fair. See, normally what I'd do is I would send pictures of models to my lovely friends in my D&D group and be like, hey, made some progress on something. I can't do that with this one. That's the whole point. The whole point is that I want it to be a nice surprise. So, not nice, because they're going to have to fight it. So, nice isn't really the word, is it? I want it to be a surprise. the nice bit is not really accurate. Okay, get a little bit more on. It's just, no, hang on. Okay, there we go, that's better. Get a little bit down this side, but not too much. Get a little bit around there, get a little bit around there. Get a bit on the sides of that. Okay, come on. There, that's it, there we go. Just need to press a little bit harder there. And you know what, I'm just going to get a tiny bit more, because I want just that bit there to be highlighted slightly more. And I'm going to get just a tiny bit more there, because... Okay, that's nice. There's a decent amount of... Oh, hang on. Nope. I got the paint a bit too far up in the brush that time. My mistake. Get that right along the edges of that, like that. Get that around there. Get it up this side just a little bit. Being really rough with that section there. I just want to get a little bit in there. I'm going to fix that later, that's fine. And that's more stippling than anything else, but that gets it there, and we'll just put a little there just so it looks like. And that is it for today. That is where we've got. It's a bit rough there. I need to do a second coat just to smooth that out. That's because I had too much paint on the brush. But yeah, that's not bad. That is not bad at all. I'm happy with that. I think that's worked pretty well. I think once the whole thing is done like that, it should be nice. It should be nice. Obviously, there's got a whole lot of detail that needs to be sorted out, like all these bits of like sinew and stuff. I'm going to do something with. Not quite decided yet what. It'll be easier to see them when they're all highlighted, that kind of colour anyway. So yeah, that's. I think that'll do. That'll do for today. Nice, chill painting video. Saturday painting video. We made some decent progress. I'm happy with how that looks. I think going back with the dark blue and the light blue has really brought that out a fair bit. I am tempted to go over a few sections of this purple with more of like a pinky magenta colour, because I think that might bring this section out even more, because I want it to be like properly vibrant. So yeah, I'm happy with that. Thank you very much for watching. If you made it this far, then the secret word is... what is the secret word? What could be the secret word for the context of the creature? The secret word is, oh dear God, why? Because I'm assuming that's what the party will say when they see this. So yeah. Thank you very much for watching. Feel free to click all the things, as always. I hope you enjoyed that chill painting video, and I hope you did some painting yourselves. Yeah, as always, there's an affiliate link. You know how it works. By now, you've heard me talk about it often enough. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.